Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it's Sunday night. You know what that means? Well, really nothing, because we don't do much on Sunday nights here at BTSC. But Dave Schofield, editor of BTSC, decided to ruin it all last week. And he said, you know what? We need a show on Sunday night for a little bit while we're figuring everything out. And we have some stuff coming up. But right now we are doing the Sunday night Q&A. So he and Geoffrey Benedict went on last week, and they were absolutely fantastic with a straight question and answer show. So that's what we want you to do. Fill us up with your questions. We definitely want to hear from you, and we're going to have some fun as well. Big Bro Sco is with me tonight. What is up, BBS?
Hey, now see, you say BBS. See, I think we should have called this show Triple B.
Triple B.
Bad and Big Bro.
Yeah, I like that. I absolutely love that. Yeah, I mean, he's big. He's a bro. He's Big Bro Sco. Rich, I'm so glad you're with me tonight. I get a chance to every single week work with your brother on Thursday nights, and Jeff Hartman too. And
to which I apologize for you having to work with Dave.
Hey, it's the hazard of the workplace, and that's no problem. But I always enjoy having you on, and it's a lot of fun. You know what? Who says that we don't have to have anything to talk about, and we should go on hiatus when
John's calling us the Killer Bees.
I've never killed anybody, but that's a good. Hey, it's a free for all. It's question and answer. If you want to ask Big Bro Sco if he's ever killed anybody, you can, and he'll have to answer it on the show.
I will have to answer the question, yes.
Geoffrey Benedict is asking you this: is this a 1970s wrestling tag team?
The Killer Bees. The Killer Bees were actually a 1980s wrestling tag team.
Absolutely. They wore black and gold stripes, and They were, do you know their names? Because I got them.
Jumping Jim Bronzell and B. Brian Blair.
B. Brian Blair. And all right, here we go. We're going to fill up your questions. We're going to answer them all. We are going to start off with some kind of breaking news in the NFL. It's just a proposal, but it's something that brings up some good questions. And while you fill up our live queue with some questions, this is only a half an hour show. We'll get to everyone that we could possibly can. But with that being said, Big Bro, the Indianapolis Colts came out, and this was just released right before we went on, and they are going to propose to the Rules Committee to extend overtime so both teams get a possession, whether or not it is a field goal or a touchdown on the first possession of the game. So we know we know the perils of it, because the Steelers, the very first time it ever happened in the playoffs, the Steelers got T-bowed. I'm sure you remember that, Big Bro Sco, back in 2011 season, 2012. So what are your thoughts right away about this?
I do like the fact that each team get possession. It doesn't leave one team feeling like, man, we didn't even get a chance. Although some people argue, well, you did get a chance, you just didn't stop anybody. But overall, I kind of like it. I will say that Dave has gotten me to be a fan of one of his thoughts on overtime, which actually could be right included into this. And he would like to get rid of the coin flip. Dave has kind of convinced me now, get rid of the coin flip and just continue the game from wherever it ends in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you know what? I absolutely hate that idea with no disrespect to you or Dave.
Yep.
It's just not what I'm looking at here. I have some thoughts about this, because I'm not loving the proposal from the Colts, and I'm not loving it for a reason. Because when this happened, and the Steelers, every team have been a victim of this. Before they made the change, if you get the kickoff, you drive down the field, and you can kick a game-winning field goal in overtime, and then just close out the game. And it is so easy to get maybe 20, 30 yards and make that field goal. Sometimes even a little, if you've got a good return, and then next thing you know, you're in field goal range just like that. So in favor of not having that, not having the fact that it ends on the very first score, which could be a field goal. I
agree. I don't want that. I don't want that.
We cannot go back at all. But the touchdown means that you didn't stop them. And you just alluded to that, Rich, that you did not stop them at all. And they made it in. Now,
I will say this. The argument against that, and it's the same argument that Bills fans probably could have made in that game with Kansas City.
And that's where it came from, yep.
If the Bills win that coin flip, I think the Bills had just as good a chance to get down and score the field goal or score the touchdown as the Chiefs did.
You know what? Absolutely.
I'm not sure either one of those defenses could stop those offenses.
So then let's say this. Then the proposal from the Colts makes a whole lot more sense, regardless of who wins the kickoff. They both get a chance. Now, it's worked for years in baseball. It really has. Baseball, man, they've done well with it. If the visiting team scores, you've got a chance to come on out and get past them. We've seen it where the visiting team have scored 3 or 4 runs and the home team still wins. I mean, those are remarkable games. It hardly happens, but that's what we've seen in baseball. So, giving them a chance to counter a touchdown, you know what? I will change my position a little bit on it. And I will say, yes, maybe I am in favor of this just because that's a great argument, Rich. But I just don't want, that way it will take, if they do it that way, it goes ahead and takes the coin flip out of the equation.
Yeah. If you took the coin flip out by saying, hey, we're just going to continue the game, but both teams will get to possess the ball.
But here's the question, though. Here's the big question. Second possession.
Yes.
Is it going to matter then? Well, we didn't get a second because your argument was, both teams would have had a chance to go down and score.
Yep.
So my question is, I don't want to like college football where you're having 7 overtimes because teams just keep scoring and matching. So when do you cut it off at that point?
Why don't we do it like they do in hockey?
Okay. A shootout?
Hockey, they in the playoffs especially. And no, in the playoffs they never get a shootout.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not in the playoffs.
They just keep playing full. They just keep playing full periods until somebody's ahead at the end.
Yeah. So
not saying that's the regular season. That doesn't necessarily need to be your regular season set up in the NFL. But what would be wrong with saying, and maybe it's not a full 15 minutes. Maybe it's like they're at now, which is 10 minutes. And say we're going to play a full period, see where we end there.
I hate that, by the way.
I don't know.
I hate the 10 minutes. I thought they.
I know. Really, why don't they make it 15 like it always is?
Yeah, you don't really lose anything in 15 because, and we saw this. We really saw this in that game when the Steelers almost got ousted from the playoffs because the Raiders and the Chargers were playing for a tie.
Yep.
And that was, I absolutely hated that. They're in overtime. There's only 10 minutes. And, teams could do a 5-6 minute possession.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
This is another one of those. Really, we could sit here and make a whole show just arguing this exact point. The fact, though, is that Indianapolis has proposed something to the league. I'm sure the rules committee will get together. They will look at it. They will come up with an idea. Will the idea be perfect? No. They'll try it and reevaluate it. That's probably what will end up happening. They'll come up with a tweak of some sort and try something.
Absolutely. And we'll see what happens with this. Now, to get it passed, you need 24 of 32 owners to go with it. Gut, I'm going to start the Q&A with you. You don't think it's going to happen?
Not happening. I don't think you get 24 of the 32.
All right. So there you go. I don't even know. I don't even have an opinion there because I don't know how the politics of it shake out in those owners' rooms. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look. Eugene Cherikov. what do you think about Loudermilk? I think he showed real promise near the end of the year. I'm going to start off with you, Rich. Go ahead.
I think Loudermilk's still a project in some ways. Really what I'd like to see the Steelers do with him is to have him and have him with another nose tackle of some sort, whether that be, Tyson Alualu or Martavis Adams or somebody, just have him there to be a rotational guy again, and continue to work with him. I'm kind of with Eugene on this one. I think he shows some real promise. His run stopping ability is great. He lacks a bit in pass rush.
Here's the thing about Loudermilk. They must love him because you do not trade a 4th round pick the next year to move up to get a guy that you are just rolling the dice on. So I don't think they did. And he showed, you're right. Promise is a great answer. I thought with his size and what he was able to do, they also have that equation with the question mark, which is Stephon Tuitt.
Right.
So, Loudermilk, I like the fact that he's there, and I'm not gripping. Man, we all went crazy last year on draft day. And I was one of the few people saying, hey, they must know something. Because you're not gonna throw away a pick next year on a guy that you didn't do due diligence on. So they've got the scouting department. We don't.
And yes, I leave it to that. What the thing I thought about, I was surprised when they made that trade and grabbed him, but I was sitting there thinking, wow, he's a big guy. Are they seeing something in this guy that becomes the Joel Steed type nose tackle that just demands double and triple teams all the time to try to move him out of the way? Maybe that's what the Steelers are envisioning for him.
And I love it.
Hey, we knew the guy was raw coming into last year, and he found some time to get onto the field. So it can't be that bad.
And he did something with it. Johnny Bravo asked, Bad, why does Jeff freeze sometimes, making Dave say, and we're back? Well, it's simple. It's not bad internet. It's StreamYard and something that's just not jiving with his internet and StreamYard, because his internet is very good all the way across the board. And every other show he does, they don't have that problem. So it's a glitch with StreamYard, and that's the best answer I have for that. And it's happening a little less, but it's happening. So I asked for this one. Genie Fan asked, have you killed anybody? With a smiling emoji. Rich?
Any human being?
Yes.
Not to my knowledge.
That's my answer too, because you always wonder. And here's the reason. Now, you're gonna think I'm crazy. This is the reason I don't litter. Okay? Because, well, I litter because of that commercial way back with the American Indian crying back from the early 70s. And I always felt bad. And then in kindergarten, I had to do a project. I remember, don't be a litter bug. And we were drawing this about littering, because that was a big thing back in the 70s. And I always outchase something that flies out of my car down the street. I've chased napkins down the street because I just think it's a karma thing with littering. But it's also one of those things that, what if somebody slips on that and gets a concussion and dies? So there's a lot of us that maybe you did kill somebody and you have no clue about it. But just you inadvertently killed somebody and you have no clue. I don't think that's ever happened, but that's where my brain goes sometimes, Rich.
Yeah, and I think back to times in my youth where I did some very wild, crazy, stupid type things, and I think about what I could have left, like you said, kind of left behind that someone could have been injured from. But I try not to think about that for too long. So, person, no.
I pretty much doubt it that any of us have, but have I run over a squirrel? Yeah, I really think I have. So I did hit a dog once, and I was so distraught. I went back to get it, and he ran off. So my wife. I was dating my wife at the time, and she said, "Well, maybe he just ran to his mama and he was okay." So, and then my dog got hit by a car, and she got up and ran and hid under the bed. And I was in Vegas at my bachelor party at the time, so that's there you go.
Yeah.
But no, my knowledge, I mean, if I've killed anything, it's a fly. Let's go to Todd. Who's our next QB? This changes every week for me, Rich.
Yeah, and it does for me too. Basically, because we haven't even hit free agency yet. We've got free agency, draft. We've got all these different pieces that still have to fall in place. You come back and hit me, the first part of May, and it will be a lot clearer to everybody. It really won't. Let me put it this way: I don't know who it's going to be, but it won't surprise me if our next quarterback is Mason Rudolph. I could see the Steelers spending this year trying to shore up other pieces of the offense and defense, saying we're going to roll with Rudy, and that could even be they could even draft a quarterback, but still plan on rolling with Rudolph. And that really wouldn't surprise me. But Todd, it's gonna get clearer in the next couple of months. The answer I don't think is there now, but I'd put it right now on Rudolph at about 40%. And you're like, well, who's the other 60%? I don't know.
Well, here's my thing about your Rudolph prediction. I'm fine with it if they draft a quarterback. And they're like, all right, we're going with the veteran. We're going to put this. Look, they did it with Pat Mahomes. That worked real well. So Rudolph's fine in that situation. I'm hoping they don't draft the quarterback this year.
Yeah, I kind of am too.
It's the Artie Burns situation for me. He was the 5th or 6th corner off the board in the first round. They wanted William Jackson the third. You just go with a guy because he's got CB in front of his name. That's the same with QB. You've got to be completely sure. What I saw from Kenny Pickett, from Malik Willis, from Sam Howell, from Des Ridder, from those guys in the Senior Bowl, I wasn't overly impressed. Now, I was impressed with Malik Willis running the ball, but not much heated passing really impressed me.
Right.
And that scares me because that's not the you don't want to have that liability with passing, because the Steelers find ways to bottle up that running quarterback. They're able to bend you, but not break you. So that's what I'm thinking there. As far as our next QB for the Steelers, I'm going to go ahead and see this week. I'm going with Carson Wentz. Now, the guy that I was wanting for the longest time was Derek Carr. That's not going to happen. I don't see them making that trade. I don't want them to trade for Jimmy G at all. Now, it doesn't look like whoever gets Carson Wentz is not going to have to trade for him. I think the Colts are going to cut him really soon. So I'm thinking this week he's the guy that they're looking at. I think anybody they're looking at is a bridge quarterback. They are going to draft somebody in the next 2 years. And it very well could be this year. But right now I'm going to say Carson Wentz. I've already said Jacoby Brissett 2 weeks ago. I've already said Teddy Bridgewater back in the season. I mean, I've said these guys. So, I mean, I've said these names and they're all a possibility. And everybody you look at, where can Teddy Bridgewater go? I read it today. Where can Derek Carr go? Where can this guy go? The Steelers are on every list. They're there on every list.
That's because everybody writing those stories are the same as us. They're just guessing.
Yeah, they're guessing. But we have a better guess because we know that the Steelers don't want to trade that draft capital for just anybody. John asks, speaking of trades, do you think we make a trade for a quick before the draft? I don't know whether that was supposed to be quick wide receiver. I'm not sure what that was supposed to be. I don't really see them acquiring talent before the draft. I see them trading somebody.
By trade.
Yeah, acquiring talent by trade. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been Chase Claypool rumors. I don't really think that's going to happen. But, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see us doing it either. I don't see us making a trade prior to the draft. We're more of that trade happens. Steelers tend to be that team that trades more after, would do something after the draft if they're going to make a trade. Pretty much prior to the draft, everything's just free agency.
All right, let's try to go a little more rapid fire here.
Yep.
Here's one that I absolutely love. Tyrone Johnson. What do y'all think about Jordan Davis, first pick? Defensive tackle, big guy out of Georgia. Absolutely. I would honor that. I would be fine with that. Plus, I get a jersey. Rich?
I not necessarily against it, but I think that will all be wrapped up in what the Steelers figure out with Tuitt.
Yep. But he's a possibility. Is there anything to the rumors that the Flores hire might mean chance of Haskins coming to the Berg? I think she met Watson on this. Kathy, I'm not sure. I didn't look down to see if he corrected that. So I'm going to amend that and think that she said Watson. No, I mean, I know Watson did want to go to Miami because of Flores, but I really don't think I think that's a big draft capital thing, and you're mortgaging the future again.
I don't see, because right now that would have to be a trade, and there's going to be a lot of questions on even would Watson be is the league going to suspend him or anything like that, and that would be a lot to give up to not know. So
there, yep. Here's a good one. Steel Curtain asked, any chance Fitzpatrick doesn't want a long-term deal now that Flores, his ex-coach, is in Pittsburgh? No, there's no chance. Rich?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think everything Minka's decisions will be made on the head coach.
Yes, and
not this whatever special assistant.
Yeah, because really Minka's going to be there longer than Flores should. I mean, that's probably what would happen. Now, I don't think he would do that. They only spent 1 year together and he was a rookie. So, and he played really well. Sherry Richards, would you trade up or back in the draft? And what position would you draft? I'm trading back if the Steelers do anything, Rich.
Yeah, I would as well. If you're going to do anything, trade back, acquire more picks.
I think you have to.
That first pick, there's a couple places you could go with that first pick. First of all, I'm going to, they could take a quarterback. I really hope they don't. I'd like to see them go offensive line, corner, maybe defensive line, depending on, again, that all would depend on what they figure out with Tuitt.
So I'm going to rile some people up with the next one. Todd asked, if Linderbaum is there, draft him or Willis. At that point, probably Willis. And I'm going to say why. I don't think they're looking at Linderbaum. I think we, the fans and the media, we love Linderbaum. I don't think they're moving Kendrick Green. He's working with Pouncey, and he claims on the Arthur Moat show, he claims that they did not talk about that in his exit interview, that they're moving him ahead as a center. Sometimes we start the narrative that he's going to be moving to guard. And Ben Roethlisberger helped out with that by saying, they should move him to guard. But really, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're picking Linderbaum. Don't think he's going to be there either.
Right. There's a good chance either one of those guys could be there by the Steelers spot. But I'm probably with you. I'd probably go Willis.
Yeah, at that point, that's what I would do. I think Linderbaum's great. This isn't a question. I just want to address this. The Steelers got T-bowed because Ryan Clark couldn't play in Denver. Yes, because of sickle cell. And Ryan Mundy couldn't cover a dog bed with a tarp. But our boy Ike got burned on that too.
Yep.
I got destroyed by the late Demaryius Thomas on that. Let's see. Should we try and sign corner and free agency or draft one? So, Rich, I'll let you go first.
Wow, that's a really good question, and Dave and I have talked about this one a little bit too. I'd like to say we could get one in free agency, but some of that would depend on who we could get and what the price tag would be.
That's the thing.
I don't necessarily want to overspend on a corner.
Here's my opinion on this, and one of the things, I even think this is a myth and a misconception. The fact, and I will get attacked on this one, the Steelers can't draft corners. I hear that all the time. They can draft corners. They're never in the right position to draft a corner.
Yeah.
And it's funny the way things work. We look at these draft boards and how everybody's graded. And remember when the Steelers took defensive back Terrell Edmonds over a lot of other people? People got angry about that. But what happens is, gosh, in those situations, you look at the fact, well, if when they drafted him, he should have gone in the second and third round, but the Steelers valued him enough and they took him. My thing is, the year before in 2016, when they took Artie Burns, if they would have held out to 38, or if they would have just said, hey, we like what this Xavier Howard is doing, even though he's got a bad grade on it, and taken him there, then you just got a huge winner at corner.
Right.
You're never gonna, if you're the Steelers, you're never gonna get Jalen Ramsey. You're never gonna get that kind of guy because he's picked in the top 5. This year, if Sauce Gardner falls down a little bit to 20, I think you grab him, and because he's the right guy. And I hesitate to say, hey, well, they drafted right with Rod Woodson, but that's a different situation because that was 35
that was
years
a
ago.
long time ago.
So you really can't bring that one up. But I think Cam Sutton was a good draft pick at third. And in fact, they drafted Cam before they drafted James Conner. That's a great draft when you get Watt, Juju, Cam, and then Connor, your first 4 picks of that draft. So I think they know what they're doing. I just don't think, I think it might be the philosophy of coaching might be a little different. Maybe they don't coach them as well. I don't know.
Right. I don't know, but it's been a rough go of late. That doesn't mean that one pick couldn't totally turn that around, but it's going to take a little while to get there. All right, took some scrolling. I think I found our next one.
Okay.
All right, I think that was our next question. Takaharu says, who's the realistic best free agent quarterback standout that's realistic for Pittsburgh to sign?
I think Marcus Mariota. I think he's the most realistic. He cost $3.5 million last year. He did some good things. Hey, they did right with him last year. They showcased that guy a lot. He played a good bit with Derek Carr there, but it was gadgetry, and we loved when they did the gadgetry with Cordell/Stewart back in 95 and 96 before he became a full-time starter. I think he works in that system, and I really think that he would be good enough. I look at him as my Ryan Tannehill comparison. Ryan Tannehill was in the wrong place when he was in Miami. Maybe Mariota was in the wrong place when he was in Tennessee.
Very possible. Very possible. Mine, I'm going to go with there. Man, glad to know he's not here in the show tonight, but my friend Tim he spent all day on President's Day trying to convince me, and he's starting to sway me a little bit on the whole Mitchell Trubisky idea because he feels the same thing. He was at the wrong place in the wrong time with the Bears, is his feeling, and that he thinks that he could fit better into Canada's offense. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Again, not sure if that's true or not, but he wouldn't break the bank, and he is a mobile quarterback, strong arm.
I saw something. I don't know whether it was in our Slack channel or on Twitter about Trubisky and where he ranked as far as wins. I believe wins in the last 4 years or so, and he's got a very good starting winning percentage.
Yes, he does.
So, and
I think somebody put it on the Slack channel.
Yeah, I think it was our Slack channel in random, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was I think he was number 2, and I think he did really well in that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it in time. Yep, and I found it. So highest winning percentage since 2018 among active quarterbacks, minimum 1,000 pass attempts. And this is from CBS. Patrick Mahomes, 790. He was 49-13. Lamar Jackson, 755, 37-12. Aaron Rodgers, 711. 45-18-1, and Mitchell Trubisky 658, 25-13. And remember, he played for the Bears.
Yep.
And so you know what? I'm actually on board with the Trubisky thing too. I've got one of my good buddies, Mike Scott, thinks that would be something that we really should do. I got to bring up your son real quick. If someone dies from slipping on a napkin, that's just natural selection. We're still not paying Kyle. Tyler Acuna, hey, Bad and BBS, what do the Steelers need to do to navigate the Tuitt situation while ensuring they lock up the D-line? This run defense needs to keep the linebackers clean. Rich?
I would expect, or my hope would be right now, what the Steelers have done is they've gotten with Tuitt and his agent since the end of the season, and I hope that the talks are continuing with the two sides, because I think the Steelers are basically going to get to a point in the next couple of weeks where it's going to be like, we need to know now, because they're either going to have to do something in free agency or the draft to address the issue if Tuitt's not going to be there.
Yeah, they've definitely got to know now. I actually am leaning to the fact that he tries to come back. Sherry Richards, Bad, have you named your new show yet? No, I still haven't. Dave wants me to call it With That Being Said, because that's one of my crutch phrases, and I said it here tonight, but I don't know. I was thinking of something a little narcissistic with a name Bad in there, but I'm not sure, Rich. I'm still working on that.
Oh goodness. I'll have to think of some things too. Actually, the best thing to do would be for Dave and I to brainstorm together. He comes up with some ideas that I kind of look at sideways, but then we typically can tweak them and get something better. So
I had one in my head in bed the other night, and I'm not sure what that is now. So it must have not been that good. Hey guys, Rob Thitoff, I hope. Your thoughts on drafting a running back to spell Najee some relief? If Kieran Williams from my beloved Notre Dame drops to round 3 or 4, I think that'd be a fantastic move. I like Kieran Williams. I have no problem with that as long as they take care of business with everything else. And 4 might be a little early.
Yeah, might be. My worry is that there are just too many other holes right now than to worry about a running back to spell Najee. Because really, we had guys that were enough to spell him last year, and maybe would have even been better to spell him if we would have had an offensive line.
All right. Our very own Andrew Wilbar, check him out tomorrow on the Draft Fix with Jeremy Betts. Would you rather the Steelers sign a top tackle or top interior lineman in free agent? I'd rather them sign both, but that's a Dave answer. So if I have to pick, I'm saying right now, you take the offensive lineman and you draft an offensive lineman and you draft a defensive lineman. But if you can get 2, if you can get Akeem Nicks, not Knicks, Akeem Hicks, and you can get a Toronto Armstead if you can get guys like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm really one of those that's like, you do whatever you can if the price is right.
There you go. Should we try to sign JC Jackson, says Jason Winningham? Yeah. If you can, if Rich, I'll let you say it again. You just said it.
Yeah, if the price is right. It really comes down to what folks are wanting money wise and what the Steelers feel they can spend money wise on a position. I don't know what that number is that the Steelers kind of lock in at their free agencies and positions, but I know they look at certain guys and they're like, this guy's going to get this much money. We don't think he's worth it. We're not doing it.
All right. We got to take two more because we're all already over time. Still Curtin asked, did either of you guys read the article where Neil O'Donnell said Bill Cowher wanted him to come out of retirement in 2004 when Tommy Maddox was injured? Wow. No, I didn't. I'd love to read that. And it didn't happen, and it worked out okay.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't because, I'm still having flashbacks to that Super Bowl against the Cowboys.
He was good, though. I mean, he was better than we remember.
Correct.
He was better than we remember because. So,
I'd been fine with Neil. I'd been fine with Neil O'Donnell, but really, when that every time you say the name, I just flash back to that Super Bowl, and that was terrible.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
And this is one that I'm passionate about, and this is going to be the last question, and I'm going to rile everybody up with this. Do you agree with me that Neil O'Donnell did not throw that Super Bowl?
No. I mean, yeah, I agree. Neil O'Donnell did not throw that Super Bowl. I think what happened was that Neil O'Donnell, for lack of a better term, the stage was too big for Neil O'Donnell.
I will agree with that. I'll also throw in the fact that if Ernie Mills doesn't get hurt, you're not throwing to Corey Holiday.
That too. And
Corey Holiday ran the wrong route. But I mean, Neil messed up. I'm not saying that. When I bring this up to your brother and to Jefferson Hartman, they slay me and they're like, oh, you're a big Neil O'Donnell fan. I'm like, I mean, he goes down in history as probably top 5 best quarterbacks in Steelers history. And probably, I mean, if you're not counting Bobby Lane in there, probably number 3.
You're probably right. That's probably about where he falls.
Well, hey, I had a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate this, Rich. Thanks so much. Thanks for everybody in the live chat. This is a Sunday night in the off season, and you guys are hanging out with us, and that's awesome. I really appreciate that. We need you guys here, and we need you guys to check out all of our shows, the YouTube shows we've got every single night. You're going to have me back tomorrow night. I'm going to be with Tony Defio and Shannon White, and we are going to have the Steeler Hangover. What are we going to talk about? Haven't decided yet. We're going to have the Big Bro Sco show on Tuesday night. I guess we got to add your brother in there. We're going to have the Sco Bro show in there on Tuesday night. And then on Wednesday, we have another great show, which is Geoffrey Benedict, who's in the live chat tonight, which is the Curtain Call. I don't know what college they're going to be talking to a representative from, but they talked to somebody from Iowa last week, which I thought was really great. So with that, if you know that you love these shows on YouTube, oh my gosh, you don't know what you're missing on the audio only platform. Let's Ride with Jeff Hartman, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The Stat Geek on Thursdays with Dave. Michael Beck on Tuesdays. My gosh, he's got the live mic. We've got a whole other slate of noontime shows too. Listen, check them out. Give us a review. You can give us any review you want. We'd love to have that 5-star positive review, but give us what we earn. So, Rich, any final thoughts?
No, it just was fun. When you put the word out, you were looking for somebody to come on. I was actually in the midst of calling a basketball game last night over at our local community college where I work. I'm the announcer. And when I got done, I checked that out and I thought, that could be fun. That's why then I was like, I'll hop on with you. So it was great to get to come on with you, Bryan. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it too. So we need you, the live chat, everybody listening to us, even if you are not in the live chat and you're checking us out on Wednesday or Thursday on your commute, or whether you're working and you're listening to us and spending time, we really need you. And we will be covering the South Central Louisiana State University Mud Dogs this week with Geoffrey, Benedict. Bobby Boucher's there for his 16th year, I believe.
I think so.
That'll be fantastic. Hey, we've got a better chance of covering those guys than covering the Pittsburgh Maulers, because Jeff and Dave are really against me even talking about that. So I'm not even allowed to mention the Maulers when I'm on the show with Jeff, but you'll see. I'm going to get some Kyle Laletta news in there.
You mean the Birmingham Maulers?
Yeah, well, they're representing Pittsburgh, but everybody's going to be there. They're not going to be the Birmingham Maulers. So there you go. Kathy says prayers to Ukraine. Absolutely. Sherry says go Maulers. Love it. So do 3 things for us. 1, be safe. 2, be true to yourself. And 3, always be behind the steel curtain. So we ask you this too. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the hypocycloids. We'll see you.